So we're adding our log entries to the log entries array, which is great. Now let's say for some reason, maybe in another part of your code, or maybe here, you need some data from your log entry. You don't need the full object, but you need the operation. And here, let's just say we want to log it. Of course, it's kind of redundant here because we know what operation we added here, but it's just so that I can show you how you can access data on objects. And you do this with a notation, which we already saw. You use the name of the object, log entry here, and then you use the dot notation. You add a dot here, and a dot tells JavaScript that on the object in front of the dot, so log entry here, you want to access one of the properties, as it's also called. So one of the data pieces that belongs to the object. And here you see my IDE already gives me this auto completion. You can also get this by pressing Control and space. And I can then access operation, for example, and by outputting log entry dot operation, if I now reload this here and I add a 5 here, you see add gets printed here, and that's just that data piece I'm accessing here with this line of code. So the dot notation allows you to access data in objects. These key value pairs here, or the keys here, are also named properties. So you access a property here with the dot notation and then the name of the property or name of the key, whatever you want to name it. And of course, it's also something we saw before. It's also what we in the end use down there when we call add event listener on our buttons. There we also use the dot notation. And then the only interesting thing is that here I'm not accessing a property which contains some data I can read, but that I actually access some function. Because you can also have functions in objects. But that's something we'll dive into in the objects module, where we dive way deeper into objects. For now, let's just think about them as groups of data, of key value pairs, where your values can be strings, numbers, arrays, other objects, and so on, where you can either hard code data like I'm doing it here, or point at variables, and then the value of the variable will be stored here as a value for this key. And that's it for now. Objects are really powerful, and we'll see them many times throughout this course. There's so much you can do with them. For now, let's just use it like this though. And let's now also make sure that we actually are able to add log entries, not just when we add two numbers, but also when we subtract and so on.